Where would you struggle if something changed or something happened tomorrow? Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my Self-Reliance. My name is Shawn James, and I'm talking about the 52 Weeks to Self-Reliance, the book that I wrote in July 2026. I wanted to continue on with the 52 Weeks of Self-Reliance series. This will be number 2, with second video in the series, but week 2 and week 3 specifically. In week 1, we just looked at everything that you are carrying. So what are your obligations? Time, money, debt, things like that. You're just writing everything down, basically where you're at in your life. Week 2, what we do is we start actually putting numbers to those commitments. Whether it's a time commitment where you say, I have to spend 40 hours a week at work, for example, or 10 hours commuting, or 15 hours taking my kids to all their sporting events and music lessons and so on. But more importantly, not in life, but more importantly in this self-reliance journey, is setting your budget. So figuring out what you're actually spending your money on, so that in the future you can start addressing that. So in this week, that's what we're doing. We're taking that checklist, the spreadsheet that I've provided, and the journal prompts, and you're going through that, and you're looking at full 12 months. Like in the past, so what some people do is they'll take 3 months of bank statements or credit card statements, and then they'll make a budget on that, and assuming that that's what they spend every month, which is accurate for those months. The problem is there's those annual costs or quarterly costs or whatever. Like maybe your property taxes are paid twice a year, for example, or something like that. So you need to go through all 12 months of bills, download them all or look at them all, categorize them, put them into the spreadsheet, say mortgage, rent, utilities, fuel, other commitments, subscriptions. You're going to define all of those in detail. So by putting in every month in each of those rows, you're going to use the spreadsheet to calculate what the average is for the 12 months. And then that will give you your average monthly cost, your average monthly budget, what you're spending your money on currently. And then from that, we're going to, in future weeks, start addressing each one of those things, figure out whether they actually add to your life or subtract from your life or don't add enough value for what you're paying. A lot of people avoid this. I know so many people that avoid doing a budget because they're afraid of what they're going to see. They don't want to be reminded, and they might not even be wanting to let their spouse know or their partner know what they're spending on things that shouldn't be part of the budget. Maybe they're discretionary spending, but they're not the most responsible, for example. So people fear that, and they also fear just seeing how much is there, and that they feel overwhelmed by it. They don't have a plan to address it, so they feel like knowing it is almost more stressful than not knowing it. So at the end of the month, you still don't have any money, but now you know exactly why, and it looks maybe on paper like most of those things you actually need. And that's where we're going to later in the series, later in the year, we're going to address our income, increasing our income to help pay for those debts that we have. So reducing the monthly expenses, but we're also going to come up with strategies for addressing that debt immediately, how to get it paid off as quickly as possible. And as I mentioned, we're not just talking about financial debt, but also energy and time commitments that aren't adding to your life that maybe you should start looking at phasing out. So we're not doing anything this week with that information. We're just putting it down on paper. The reason we want to take our time at this, like dedicate a full week to it, is you might go through your statements on day one, but then you might forget that you even had another credit card or another bank account, or that you hadn't really tracked your time energy, your time expenditure accurately. So each day throughout that week 2, you might come up with other things that you need to add to that checklist, add to that spreadsheet by the end of the week. What the book is about is 52 weeks, a full year of deliberate steps or deliberate decisions to reclaim or take back your time, your money, and your freedom, which to me is the foundation of self-reliance. I talk about foundations a lot because I'm building a lot. The maple sugar shack behind me, the workshop right here, when I started digging to put in some footings, some foundations for these buildings, found out that the water table is right basically at ground level, especially in the spring or after a heavy rain. All these slopes behind me here flow down here. And when I tried digging, I hit water immediately, and I had to take care of that. I had to change the foundation. I had to solidify that foundation, and I had to assess the risks. So that's what my life has been about, is assessing risks and then taking control of my life one step at a time. So that's what this series is about. This is what the book is about. And this is what I wish I had and had followed instead of taking 16 years to get to the point that I'm at right now in my life. This 52-week plan is not going to get you here, obviously, but it's going to at least lay that foundation so you can move along a lot quicker than I did. So I talked in the first couple of weeks about just taking inventory, assessing where you are at, what your vulnerabilities are, or less about vulnerabilities, just assessing what your position is in lifetime and where your time and money and your energy is being spent. And then second week is assessing specifically what your financial position is, so writing everything down, and then not dealing with it yet, just spreadsheeting that, getting your budget under control, or in your full understanding at least. And this phase, this week number 3, is about identifying your vulnerabilities and doing a risk assessment. For my wife and I, going back to 2010, when we went out of business, we ended up taking responsibility for $750,000 of the debt that the company incurred. When the business went out of business, we were on the hook for that. So our vulnerability was that we had put ourselves in that financial position to begin with by guaranteeing the debts of the company, but we also had essentially a single source of income since we both worked in that company and our associated smaller companies. So very vulnerable. And that's the case for a lot of people. So that would be one of the risk assessment, or one of the risks that you would write down, one of your vulnerabilities in this week. The 52-week book comes with some downloadable worksheets, workbooks, so that you can keep this all organized in one place. So that's where you would write this down, or just in a journal or wherever else you want to write it down, maybe electronically if you're still doing that on notes or something on your phone. So vulnerability would be a single source of income, maybe in your family, or maybe 2 of you are working, but you both have one source of income each. You're working for an employer, and who knows what employers are going to do, especially as we go through tough times for our businesses. So it might not be a vulnerability, it might not think it's a vulnerability, but write it down anyway, because single source of income is always vulnerable. Another thing we discovered that was a risk or was a vulnerability is that when we had supply chain issues, and for us, everything was a supply chain issue because our bank accounts were frozen early 2011. So not having enough food in storage or water or cash even, these were things that left us vulnerable. Skills, even though I have been doing this kind of thing on and off most of my life, not even on and off, but on a much smaller scale during that period of our lives when we were raising kids and running a business, I let a lot of skills slide. So that was a vulnerability for us. Remembering how to garden, for example, which is one of the first things I did when we lost the business, is I dug up the backyard and planted a garden. So I had to relearn all those skills. So that was a vulnerability. So that's all this week is about, is not dealing with them, not coming up with a game plan on how to fix them. It's literally just writing them down and taking it slow. I keep saying, seems like 52 weeks is too long, and for some people it's going to be, but I'm saying you're going to write it down, let's say at the beginning of the week, but throughout that week you might be off doing something and realize, hey, this is a vulnerability. This is one of our risks that we need to write down as well. Instead of trying to just deal with them as you come up with them, just get them all in a worksheet, get them all written down so that you've named them out loud. So that's it for this week. Like I said, it's short and sweet. It's a long week of just writing things down. And then next week, what we're going to do is start looking at our priorities. For my wife and I, we had a very clear sense of priorities that we wanted to put down as our goals 5 years down the road. So what was our 5-year plan? Anyway, if you are interested in this, or you think that this can be helpful, like I said, it's not specifically for learning how to live off-grid. It's about just taking control of your life and then taking steps to be more self-reliant no matter where you live or where you want to live or what your life wants to be or should be. It's just steps. It's just a program to help you achieve your best life, essentially. So if you're interested, like I keep saying, link down below to the website, to the 52 weeks book, and then the playlist for if you just want to keep watching the videos here. Click on the playlist below and you can just watch the videos 1 through 52 or whatever the number ends up being for this series. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin next time. Take care.